You are listening to Abnormal Spaces.
I'm Donnie.
I'm Ryan.
In this podcast, we discuss conceptual realities, the researchers, authors, and explorers who describe and define them, as well as our personal experiences in these abnormal spaces. In this episode, we discuss Matilda O'Donnell MacElroy, who was a nurse in Roswell when the alleged spacecraft crashed. Her story is both compelling and believable, and she may be the only human in modern times to have communicated with an extraterrestrial. We have talked about a number of different things as they relate to consciousness, and we've talked about, physics, and we've talked a little bit about the unidentified anomalous phenomena. But when you told me about this nurse that was at the Roswell crash site in 1947, I was really intrigued because the transcripts of the interview touched on so many things that we talk about all the time. And what's particularly wild about it to me is some of the things that the nurse stated, I really don't think she could have known at that time. Not in 1947. She did graduate high school and then graduate a 4-year program to become a nurse, and she went through the military training and all that. So, obviously she was intelligent, but these are just some things that weren't even established yet. Some of them were just, theories at that time that, later proved to be true, but she couldn't have known those things. So that part of it really intrigued me. But anyway, for the listeners, in 1947, there was some kind of crash in Roswell, New Mexico. A lot of people believe that it was an alien aircraft, and there have been rumors for years about a surviving alien. And apparently, there was a nurse there, Matilda O'Donnell MacElroy, which is a false name that was given to her for witness protection. But she was able to telepathically communicate with the alien survivor of this crash. And so, again, telepathy is something we've talked about quite a bit. And so, I was just really intrigued by the convergence of so many things that we've talked about. So that was really neat. But anyway, long story, longer. She, on her deathbed, she sent transcripts of her interview and notes about the interview to an author and researcher who was into UFOs and whatnot. And there is some dubiousness in that we're hearing it from the author. And although we have, these texts as far as the notes and the actual interview log and all of that look very real, we don't really have a way of verifying. And again, since that name came from witness protection, there really is no way to trace this back. So we're going on hope, I guess, in some degree, or, we're just proceeding cautiously. But I wanted to say that kind of up front because I want people to understand that while we find this fascinating, the I part of we finds this really fascinating, we don't have a way of knowing for sure.
Yeah. So that's everything.
That is everything.
Yeah.
And some of it is just hard to deny. And that's the thing that got me really excited.
A lot of it's hard to believe, too.
Oh, yeah. A lot of it's very hard to believe. But, okay, so the story goes that she came in to provide care to the crashed alien, the survivor, and the alien communicated with her telepathically. And at first, the alien was only able to use kind of images and feelings because the alien didn't know the English language. We find out later that the last time the alien was here was like 5700 BCE or 5695 or something, very long time ago. And at that time, the only language that the alien knew from Earth was Sanskrit, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. The alien was in the Himalayas at that time, which is also interesting. So the alien comes back, crashes, the army recovers, the alien nurse is administering care. The alien senses that she is the only one of the entire group that really just wants to take care of the alien. The rest of them all have an agenda, etc. So the alien begins to communicate, again, images, feelings, etc., and it's determined that the alien will only speak to her. What's really interesting to me, too, is that even if she brought in questions from someone else, the alien wouldn't answer them.
Yeah.
Because the alien knew, there was intent behind those questions that was potentially harmful or whatever. So anyway, in order to kind of facilitate the communication, the nurse brings in some late 1800s primary school books, so the alien can learn to read English and understand English so that way the alien can communicate better telepathically. So in the course of about a week, the alien was very well versed in English and then had read a lot of different books, some fiction, some nonfiction, some poetry, etc. Then the alien was ready to really communicate. And that's where it really gets crazy.
Yeah.
One of the things that I found particularly fascinating was the history of the Earth from the alien's point of view. So to me, that was really neat. So one of the things was the pyramids that are around the Earth, so not just the pyramids of Giza, but all the different pyramids were bases at one point. But what I thought was interesting was whenever the alien was talking about the alignment of the different pyramids, it mentioned, or she mentioned, which is another interesting thing, that the pyramids of Giza line up with the stars of Orion. I don't remember people really knowing that until, maybe 15 or 20 years ago. And it could be me that I just wasn't aware of that until then, so I assume that no one else was either. But I don't know that a nurse in 1947 would have necessarily known that.
Yeah.
That wasn't common knowledge at the time.
Totally.
So I thought that was really interesting. The alien called herself Airl, A-I-R-L, and indicated she was millions of years old. The body that was recovered, they refer to it as a doll body because it isn't really an organic thing. It's not a biological thing. It's nothing that we really have on Earth. It really is some foreign material with some way of conducting electricity inside. There were, no eyes, no mouth, no nose, no digestive system. The eyes didn't have eyelids. The fingers operated more like prehensile, like an elephant trunk or something like that. And there were 3 fingers to each hand. No genitalia, nothing like that. What made sense about that to me is what you find out a little bit later, is that Errol and where she comes from, the domain, they're all just consciousness. And so they can inhabit these doll bodies, and that way they can do the interstellar flight or whatever, because they don't need to really be sustained. So they don't need food and they don't need oxygen or whatever, compounds are on their home planet. They don't need any of that. So that part answered that question.
It's just crazy to think about. I really like that part because it makes so much sense. It's just like everything you see, like movies where they make androids. It's a consciousness that's in a synthetic makeup of almost like a biological body. Like they've figured out how to make synthetics into biological mimicry.
Yeah.
I thought that was super interesting. And I also thought that it was interesting that the inside of the ship was the same.
Yeah.
And so it's basically like this organic medium that they interact with. Like the doll body interacts with the ship, but it also interacts with their mind.
Yeah.
And it's all made of the same kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And something about frequencies that are tuned to each doll body through each individual consciousness.
Yeah.
And also the same with the ship.
Right. Yeah.
No controls, no, yeah.
Yeah, and you can't just take one consciousness, put it in one body, but then put it in a different ship. It won't work.
Right.
It's all personalized, I guess.
Right. Sorry, I had to.
No. I'm glad you did, because that part was really fascinating. Then, whenever she snapped Matilda's consciousness out of her body for a minute, and then Matilda realized that we're just consciousness, and then she was talking about, she didn't have this fear anymore and everything else. It's like all of the near-death experience stuff, all the out-of-body stuff we've talked about. I loved that part of it because I was like, yeah, that'll wake you up pretty quick.
Yeah, she's like, because this lady apparently was like a devout Catholic, and she was very, like of the time.
Right.
And she didn't even believe that women were immortal beings. She didn't,
Right.
And it's that's a bummer, but but it is a window into that of that time. So the alien Errol, she was like, I will give you an example of this now. And she just said, be above your body.
Yeah.
And then immediately she was like, I was floating above my body. I saw my body. I saw the alien in the room. I was like floating up.
Yeah.
And then whenever she snapped back into her body, she had to get up and go to the restroom and get herself together because she was so shaken by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she would be. I mean, think about it. You're an American in 1947. You're a Catholic woman, and then you're like given this crazy revelation, and you witness it firsthand too. I thought it was interesting too how she was surprised that Matilda, the nurse, was surprised that Errol, the alien, was an engineer and that she had a high rank or whatever, because why would a woman have that?
Oh, I know.
It was wild. I thought it was also interesting too that, like, even though Errol didn't have any expressed genitalia or any sexual desire or anything like that, that Matilda knew that Errol was feminine based on the connection that they had and the fact that Errol seemed like a caring entity or whatever, and that translated into femininity.
Yeah,
I thought that was really, really interesting too.
So we're going to try to stay in a line with this somewhat. I'm not going to try to go off too far or whatever, but yeah, you keep going. Because I don't know what to say yet.
Yeah. Well, I'm just kind of recounting things. So the Army was getting very frustrated because they couldn't, ask their questions. They, wanted to know if the aliens were here to harm us or here to, what their role was here. And really, they just do periodic checkups in this quadrant of the universe. Apparently, they liked the low gravity of the dark side of the moon, and the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, according to Errol, was at one time a planet, and then it got destroyed, and they like that space in there, I guess, for one, because it's low gravity. Two, I guess it's like a shield when they come into the inner Milky Way, whenever they get into, like, Mars, Earth, Venus. Apparently there was some life on Venus, and they were aware of things there. Same with Mars, that we find out later about Martian bases and whatnot. But anyway, so the Army's getting a little frustrated with her, but Errol has no problem telling Matilda everything she knows. And then it starts to get more crazy. So real quick, one of the things that I feel like I have to point out is that when Matilda sent the letter and the transcripts and notes to the author, she said, she was going to euthanize herself. So she was 86, 87. I don't remember how old she was, but she had a terminal disease, and she lived in Ireland, and she was ready to go peacefully on her own terms. And so this was a deathbed confessional, but she said that the author might find it easier to envelop this in science fiction so that the story could get out, but his life wouldn't be in jeopardy. That's what she said. So I think that some of the things that come much later in these interviews could be some of that science fiction. And what I mean is, according to the author and Matilda and Errol, there was an old empire, and there was the domain, which was kind of a newer empire that Errol was a part of. And the old empire did all of the awful things that we here on Earth would see as, lower vibrations, not good traits, etc. And we're talking about war and slavery and depletion of resources and stuff like that. Whereas the domain was the more enlightened version of the two. And the universe isn't exactly infinite, but it is very large, and the domain controls about a quarter of it. So begs the question, who is in control of the other 3/4? Can we believe that the domain are the good guys? We don't know that. There's a lot of this that sounds more science fiction-y, and the reason I say that is because I've always had a difficult time whenever, like, you think about the Old Testament and you think about all of these, what I think are moral shortcomings, and they assign them to God as if God is a petty, jealous, awful person or entity or whatever. And the reason I don't like that is, one, it doesn't make sense to me why an enlightened, omnipotent, omniscient being would behave like a base human. But then also, I feel like that it is just the trappings of human thought and human experience that inform that interpretation of that version of reality. So because we can't think in terms that much differently than what we've lived and experienced and witnessed, then we just assume that's the way everything operates, like there's space taxes. I don't really understand that. I do understand that we need taxation in order to pool resources in order to have a functioning society. However, we're talking about a society that's been around for 60 trillion years, and they haven't devised a better system than taxation, and then punishing those who don't pay their space taxes by putting them on a prison planet. That sounds stupid to me.
Yeah. Well, just based on all of this recent alien weird shit that I've been into because of what I've been seeing, there's a lot of levels of life, and that makes sense to me, that there are lower vibratory ships and things that would be affected by things like electricity. Because when I think about certain entities or whatever, I just think like, oh yeah, well, why would they even need a ship?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If they're just consciousness.
Right.
Yeah.
But it also makes sense that because the vibratory levels are lower, apparently, then they would need something to interact or interface with them. Because, I mean, if you're just consciousness, I'm not really sure. I just don't know how that works, like how you would even do anything.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You need some kind of, if you're going to participate in physical reality, you need a physical form.
Right.
Which, real quick, side tangent, I thought it was very interesting whenever Errol said that the scientists were too focused on matter and physical reality.
Yeah.
In 1947, that was a very controversial statement to make.
Yeah.
And it still is today. There are still people going out of their way. You think about fermions, and you think about the Higgs boson, and it's like we want so bad to just believe in this physical reality that we construct all of these theories that are all based on this physical reality, when we should know by now that there really isn't a physical reality. There's only the physical reality insofar as we believe it to be.
It's agreement.
It's agreement. And so I thought that part was really wild.
Yeah, and then they talk about computers and stuff too.
It almost sounded like AI ran the domain, because it sounded like a lot of their a lot of the decisions that were made, et cetera, were outsourced to the computer, or at least that's the kind of vibe that I got from what they were saying.
Yeah, I think that was really interesting, and also how she talked about time and history and how it's not linear.
Yeah.
And I mean, it fell in line with a lot of things. You know, she was like, the only history that you guys believe in was recorded by a very small number of people who it was their personal experience of that thing.
Right.
So our whole history is just based on nothing.
Right. It's just somebody's story.
Yeah.
And then we're just like, hey, that's a good enough story for me.
And then we agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was fascinating. I mean, time being nonlinear in 1947 was, especially, again, it's a Catholic nurse. You know, how much did she know about physics, especially, you know, almost avant-garde physics? I mean, you know.
Yeah.
That so
fringe, weird.
Totally fringe.
Stuff, yeah.
Yeah. And really out there, like the physicists that were really thinking, you know, just way, way far advanced and down the road from the rest of society. So, you know, the fact that she was able to relay this, it does seem like she got this information from somewhere outside of herself or her sphere or anybody she knew.
Yeah.
I don't think that she read that in a book and then said the alien told her that. I just don't.
I don't think there was a book that was
exactly
to be read.
Yeah. Yeah. The science fiction part of it, I call it that just because that's the way when I took it in as a whole, that's the way it seemed to me. But Errol told her that the Earth was a prison planet and that the whole cycle of reincarnation is basically a psychic trap. So we are trapped here. That's why the past lives are erased. So your physical body dies, your consciousness gets scrubbed, and you get sent back. And that's an interesting take on reincarnation. It's really interesting, too, when you think about achieving enlightenment. You know, you have to go through so many until you, like, basically don't really even exist as a human anymore. Like, you're in human form, but you have no attachments, you have no suffering, etc. Like, that's then when that body dies, then you have attained nirvana or whatever.
Or before. You know, see, now, okay, I'm going to side tangent because this is really cool. It kind of falls in line with a lot of other things, except for the fact that the previous life gets erased. If you look into Dolores Cannon stuff and all that, it's like we die, we go and review, and we choose to come back or not.
Yeah.
but we always seem to come back for whatever reason.
Right.
Maybe because we forget how hard, or I don't really understand that part because
Yeah.
because me, Ryan, right now, say I'm dead.
Right.
And then I go up and I'm like, hey guys, what's up?
Yeah.
And they're like, how was it? And I'm like, oh, shitty. Or, you know, like,
Yeah.
or this was cool, but that was shitty and whatever. And yeah, I don't want to go back. That shit sucked.
Right. Yeah.
That's how I would say right now. Because I love, you know, there's lots of things I love about being alive and my friends and family and all of that stuff and things that I've done. But as a whole, if you're taking me to this like realm of infinite possibility where it's just like, oh, I don't have to eat, but I can, or you know, like
Right, yeah.
whatever, eat. Why did I say that? I really put a lot of emphasis on eating. So I go up there and there's a bunch of chicken wings, and I'm like, I'm gonna eat 100 chicken wings.
Right.
And I will not be sick, and I won't gain any weight. God damn it. So there's an insight into me. Okay, so yeah, I go up there. They're like, "You want to go back?" And I'm like, "No, I want to do some way cooler stuff."
Yeah.
So there is an amnesia element to it, and Errol is saying basically the amnesia is from the bad empire
Right. Yeah.
to keep you
Yes.
going around and around and around, and you don't know it.
Yeah. You don't know it, and you're trapped here, and then so many things are traps, and so they Errol gave some evidence of what those traps would be, and the whole false god thing with Yahweh and Abraham, or the confusion as far as the pyramids. You know, those weren't supposed to be burial chambers, according to Errol. And so the best way to confuse people is to actually have a mummified pharaoh or something in there. And so it's like, you know, that takes a leap of faith to believe. But the point about all of those religious texts, and not the Vedic texts, because those came from the good guys, but the other texts were by the bad guys to confuse us. And I'm like, well, yeah, none of that actually makes any sense. Like, none of it adds up if you take the Old Testament and put it next to the New Testament. Those are two completely different things, and they don't make any sense together. And so that's part of what Errol was alluding to, is that, you know, that's another trap to keep you here, so that you're not thinking about the things that don't add up or whatever.
I saw this video on TikTok, and it was this guy, and it just said, sneaking cheeseburgers on top of people's heads. And he was on the beach, and he would like unwrap this McDonald's hamburger, and this person would just be on their phone on the beach, and he would put it on top of their head.
Oh,
and then a counter would go off. And it would go into like a minute, and this person has a cheeseburger on their head.
What?
Yeah. And that cracked me up so hard that I had to send it out. And I should have sent it to you because that shit was funny. But I sent it to the band thread or whatever. And I think Joe's thing was like, oh, they deserve it. You know, like, and I mean, it's true. Like, if you don't feel a cheeseburger on your head.
Yeah.
But that, to me, is the whole thing. That's all of it.
Yeah.
Is like, if you can sneak a cheeseburger on top of my head for a minute and a half.
Right.
Then there's nothing else to say.
Right. Yeah. It's true. All bets are off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was interesting too. The people or the entities here on this prison planet, it's a number of things. So apparently in the ideal space civilization, they still have bad guys. They still have perverts. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
And they have, you know, murderers and thieves and whatnot. But also they wanted to imprison the savvy political minds and the artists and whatnot. So whether it's a poet or a musician or a visual artist, whether it's a
Genius.
a genius.
Yeah.
Apparently, Nikolai Tesla
Yeah.
is one of those ISBs. Oh, yeah, we need to talk about ISB.
Yeah, is B.
Yeah. So explain ISB to your...
I think it's just, she said that it's because we are, and then our purpose is to be.
Right. I love that.
And that's it, yeah.
That made me so happy.
Yeah.
Because, like, really, that is it.
Yeah.
We're here.
We're here, and what's our purpose? To be here.
Right.
To be wherever we are.
To be wherever we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, everybody's an ISB.
Right.
Everything is an ISB.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was really neat. I wondered, too, if Matilda wasn't one of the... Okay, so real quick, they had a battalion here, the good guys, the Domain. That was one of the first things that Errol had told Matilda. It was before Errol had learned much English. So the idea of the Domain is really broad, loose, etc. So Matilda just adopted that name for their society. It was just like a big home to Errol. So, but anyway, the Domain had like a battalion here on Earth before it became a prison planet, and 3,000 of them are trapped here. So I was then wondering if Matilda wasn't one of the ISBs.
I think that they said that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why Errol talked to her.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, it's dense. It's a 4.5-hour video.
Yeah, it's super dense. Like it's so dense that it's really kind of hard to talk about because there's so much information
Yeah.
in there. Like the fact that the universe is like 4 quadrillion years old or something by
Yeah.
their accounts.
Yeah.
And like talking about trillions of years. And I mean,
Well, and it's not clear. Is it an Earth year? Is it a Domain year? What is a year? And so,
Yeah.
you know, and then of course the naysayers like, well, you know, that doesn't make any sense. Well, but Errol was trying to communicate in a way that Matilda would understand. And, you know,
that's the whole thing.
that's the whole thing.
Of everybody trying to communicate.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
the other thing. We're just two entities trying to like communicate.
She goes into time isn't real.
Right.
And space isn't real.
Yeah.
I have to speak like they're real.
Right.
You know, so yeah, the universe is 4 quadrillion years old.
Yeah.
Like kind of.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Give or take.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, you know, the universe is super old and the Earth has been here a long time.
Not quite infinite. I like that.
Yeah. I like that too. So they had their base here, battalion here. Bad guys took it over, made it a prison planet. One of the reasons they chose it as a prison planet was because of how hostile it is. So Errol was saying, you know, nobody wants to use this for resources because it's too expensive, and nobody wants to stay here very long because we have tectonic plates that float on molten magma that are going to shift, and volcanoes are going to erupt. The pole shifts every 10,000 years or so, and that creates disturbances. And Errol, you know, essentially said, you know, this isn't a place that anyone wants to come, and there's nothing here for anyone outside of, you know, Earthlings. So I thought that was really interesting. I thought the idea of the holographic or projected mountaintop in the Himalayas was really interesting too, because it reminds me of Mount Shasta.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, but, you know, where does all this come from? You know?
Yeah, the things about this story versus like the other stories, there's a lot of parallels, but there's also like a lot of confusion because it's like, you know, in some stories they're like, "Oh, you're here for the big show."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like everything's about to change.
Yeah.
And you got a front row ticket and you decided to come here, and that's this whole thing right now. That's one story of what's happening, you know?
Yeah.
Apparently it's about to go down. I don't
Right.
know what's going down, but whatever. So, doesn't matter. But I have been seeing insane shit that I've never seen in my life previous.
Well, so I was thinking about you whenever later on, Errol's doll body, they basically electrocute it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Errol's consciousness leaves, and that's the end of it. And then later on, Errol does communicate again with Matilda.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about how, because you are more open to the existence of any of these things, naturally you would see more. You know, just like Matilda was open enough to have this, 6-week conversation with Errol, and then was, later visited by and communicated with and to by Errol. It's similar to you.
I know that I've always been kind of out there,
Yeah.
but now I'm not afraid to admit it. It's okay. Like my friends know for the most part, and that I'm like the weird alien guy. And it's not alien. Like I don't like that kind of. It's a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
It's not just that. There's a bunch of shit going on, and I don't know what it is. We call it extraterrestrial. We call it fairy. Whatever we call it. I think it's just a consciousness. I think it's different personalities of and representations of energy.
Yeah.
But they're all kind of the same, but they're different. It's really strange.
Yeah.
But regardless, I have been increasingly, I mean, it's almost like daily. They add one more little thing.
Yeah.
One more little thing.
Yeah.
Just to like push and see. Last night, I'm standing out there. I just call it weird driveway time because I just go out there and have weird driveway time by myself. Talk to the sky, I do. And it's insane. But it is absolutely real to me what is happening. I've never seen an owl or heard an owl here. Maybe you have?
Yeah.
In your neighborhood?
I don't know if my neighborhood, but not too far from here. I know I've seen
like
an owl.
outer.
But not too far from here. I've definitely seen an owl.
I've never once that I can remember have I seen an owl in a neighborhood or heard an owl really loud.
Yeah.
And last night, I'm just sitting there and doing my thing. And, I start seeing the little things that flash and kind of scan the sky. And I'm like, oh, cool. And I hear this owl hooting in the distance. Like, for real, this last sounds made up, but it sounds like it's, far away. And I was like, whoa, weird. And it just keeps doing it. I shit you not. As if out of nowhere, and I didn't even see it, it appeared in the neighbor's tree behind me, like maybe 20 feet, 15 feet away.
Whoa.
Going, hoo, 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 like over and over again. And I was like, oh my God. And I was kind of startled,
Yeah.
And then it was there for a little bit. The neighbor's tree 2 houses down, it was in there.
Whoa.
And it was doing this hoot thing, you know, like, and
wait, were there 2 of them, or did it
it
fly?
was just one. It was one.
Oh.
I never saw it.
Ah, weird.
And the thing with owls and ETs and all this spiritual shit.
Right.
Well, that was the first for me. And as soon as that thing got into the neighbor's tree and started doing that, I looked up and there were 3 orbs that lit up really bright and went across the sky. And I was like, and this owl's hooting. And I'm like sitting there going, oh, some shit's about to go down,
Yeah.
And so that's going on. And then I told you about the little green light. You saw the green light?
Yep.
That happened
Yeah.
last night.
Oh, okay.
In
wait,
in the tree, too.
I didn't see it last night.
No, the little green, it's like a little green orb light that was in the tree.
Okay.
Did I show you that video?
No.
I need to show you that video.
Yeah.
That came back.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes, I had seen one before.
Yeah.
You'd show me a video before.
This was the same
Okay.
type thing. And it wasn't the lightning bug thing.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of lightning bugs, but
Right.
I'm like, I'm really like, study it. I'm like,
Yeah.
how are you? Okay. No, this was one place, another place, another place, just,
Yeah.
so last night was really intense in that way.
Yeah.
That was a complete side tangent. But yes, I think the more you let in the possibilities and the more you see something, you get more confidence to let down your beliefs and guards. It's almost like a natural progression type thing.
Yeah.
And the more you let them down, the more you see.
Yeah.
It's just, and yeah, I'm noticing that now.
Yeah. They feel comfortable revealing themselves to you more.
Maybe.
Or something. Or
They are absolutely intelligent.
Yeah. Well, and you're more tuned into them, so I would imagine that means they're more tuned into you too.
Yeah.
So, and it's like an open psychic connection or something.
Yeah, and this is the last thing I'm going to say. The birds come very close now, and they just stay.
Interesting.
And they sit, and they look at me. And the squirrel the other day, the squirrel just comes down. I'm sitting in the chair out, and it comes down, and it comes right beside me.
Oh, wow.
And it's just sitting there. And I'm like looking down, like right by me. I could touch it. And I was like, hey, dude, what's up?
Yeah, it's not scared of you at all?
No, sat there. Didn't
Yeah.
want anything, wasn't looking at me really. It was just kind of like sitting there.
Yeah, well, so I do think that animals on Earth can definitely sense if someone is a threat or not. Now, obviously squirrels and any prey animal is going to be, they're going to err on the side of you're probably going to eat me. So, and that makes sense. But much like Errol the alien felt like she could trust Matilda because Matilda's intentions were not to harm her. In fact, they were to care for her. It could be the exact same thing with you.
I feel so like corny saying that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know me, then you know that everything's corny. And,
Right.
this is like new territory, just, I go out and talk to this guy. It's weird. If you start entertaining this imaginary play more and you start giving yourself permission to be weird and corny within your own self,
Yeah.
then you start seeing things as like, oh no, that's the sky, that's conscious.
Yeah.
These animals it's all the same thing for real.
Yeah.
Like the trees and like everything you're looking at starts to become this intelligent thing.
Yeah.
That it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's really interesting to me because, there's recently a paper published about whether or not the sun was conscious, and now they're talking about, trees being conscious, and I'm like, right.
Yeah.
Everything is
like
conscious.
it's always been. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've said it a million times, but I'm just spouting off bullshit
Right.
until you're like, oh, wait.
Yeah.
No.
Well, and I hate that it takes a group of physicists and some very lengthy equations and abstract thinking to arrive to the same thing. But and then for some reason a larger group of people goes, okay, well maybe that is true. But if you and I say it, it's just like it's a couple of cornballs.
Yeah, and that's okay because this is all just for me personally. Like this is just my personal whatever, like growth and acceptance of actually experiencing things that I spout bullshit off about.
Right, yeah.
And that to me is everything.
Yeah.
I just want to experience it and be like, not because I want to see aliens or necessarily, which I do. I mean, I would totally like hang out and have some conversations or whatever you want to do. But I want to just experience this fantastic part of life.
Yeah.
Like this spiritual, weird, and not spiritual corny, but like the real spiritualness of it, like the fleetingness of it and the fineness of frequency and stuff. It's just, and the intelligence that's there.
Yeah.
You know, like when you get your phone out and you know some things are going to come, because
Right.
they do every time.
Right.
And then you say, can more of you come?
Right.
And then a bunch more come.
Yeah.
And they keep coming. Then you're like, okay. You know,
Right,
like
yeah.
it's like permission slips.
Yeah.
Each one is a permission slip to go further
Yeah.
for yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because you're willing to do that, then more opportunities come your way.
Yeah, it's just synchronicities at that point.
Yeah. And manifestation, law of attraction.
Yep,
and
man,
stuff.
all of it
Yep.
is just automatic.
Yeah.